So instead of repeating things that way more articulate, more intelligent people have said over the months, let alone some of the arguments that I've made one way or the other, I just wanted to play a couple videos of the last few things that each of the candidates decided to do. I'm going to start off first with Trump's last rally in Pennsylvania. This was on Sunday afternoon.
And I have this piece of glass here, but all we have really over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind that.
And now for contrast, I'll play Kamala's surprise visit to 30 Rockefeller Plaza this past Saturday.
I wish I could talk to someone who's been in my shoes, you know? It is nice to see you, Kamala.
It is nice to see you, Kamala, and I'm just here to remind you, you got this. I don't really laugh like that, do I?
A little bit. American people want to stop the chaos
And end the dramala.
back in our pajamas and watch a Kamala
Like Legally Blondula.
and start decorating for Christmas. Fa la 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 la. What do we always say? Keep Kamala and carry on a la.
Now, there were talks about FCC equal time regulations for that cameo on SNL, but NBC did give Trump 90 seconds of uninterrupted time to directly address voters, and he gave a statement during NASCAR's post-race show. Essentially, both candidates got to speak to the audience that best represent their base. So here's my thing, man. Anybody that knows me knows where I lean politically. I've never hidden that one way or the other. I've made it clear that I'm voting for Harris. It is what it is. I have no love lost for the orange fuck muppet. Again, go watch Blerd's in the Hood. I have always been very frank about that. But the reason I specifically wanted to show these two, do you notice kind of the difference of how each of them have approached this situation? Kamala has really focused on genuinely trying to unite people to make things better, to calm the storm. Trump's okay being like, hey, yo, they got to kill a few journalists. I'm okay with it. And then, in order to get to me, they'd have to shoot some of the fake news. That to me has always been what this is about. Whether or not you believe in liberal or conservative policies, I can't have somebody, or I can't support somebody that thinks it's okay to mock people, to, talk about situations of, some people got shot, it is what it is. And people always want to defend it and be like, oh, the left is always, knocking up all this rhetoric. But then at the same time be like, but you guys need to, because you'll have this whole situation of like, oh, the left is always the one that's dusting up all this hateful rhetoric. And yet jokes are made about Nancy Pelosi's husband getting, almost killed. Or it's okay to shoot journalists type bullshit. This has been the pattern of what's been going on. So, I have always leaned more to the left, but I have understood and given some credence to conservative politicians in the past that at least were couth enough to, be a normal human and to not down talk people and to incite violence and things like that. So, for me, again, already voted. I'm supporting Harris, things like that. You got to do what you got to do one way or the other, but I will say this much as far as it goes, man. I know people are tired of having to choose between two options that they don't like. I know people are tired of this idea of saving democracy in the most important election of our lifetime, but this door was open back in 2015 and has been going since, and he's made it clear, win or lose, he said that this, whether we believe him or not, this is the last election he's going to run. So however this goes one way or the other, this is it. So I implore all of you to do your civic duty and go vote. I obviously have a side I'm pulling for here, but, I just, the one thing that I don't really love is I hear a number of people saying they're just not gonna, or they're just gonna throw their vote away or whatever it is. And what's bullshit about that is knowing, especially as a black man in this country, knowing what wars had to be fought, whether they be civil rights movement type battles or anything else like that, what it took for us to have that opportunity to do so. There's no such thing as throwing it away, let alone, I'm going to say this up top to anybody that's not really processing this, your local and state elections, your down ballot elections are equally as important as what happens with presidents. So let's say Harris wins. If she loses the House and she loses the Senate, she's not going to be able to get much shit done. She won't. She straight up will not. Same thing for Trump. If Trump wins, but then the Democrats pull off a sweep on those, he's not going to be able to do a lot of shit. You could do executive order things, but to really get shit done, it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to do so. So this idea that voting doesn't matter is BS, because you can also take into consideration for your state and your city and your county and all that, all sorts of propositions. There's a very important proposition here in California about rent control that is being pushed by a lot of corporations and landlords to essentially make it that they cannot have more rent control be put in. It's only for buildings of 1976 and later. And in doing so, prices out here in LA for apartments and houses, single family homes have skyrocketed. This is Proposition 23. Voting yes on this gives the opportunity for more rent control to be put into place so that these prices can't continue to skyrocket out of control. So don't ever listen to somebody that says that voting is pointless. I can understand what you're saying about the iron grip that these super PACs and these corporations have on a lot of these politicians on a more national level and maybe across the board. But to that point, there are people in all different positions that help make things happen, let alone, again, these propositions and all sorts of stuff that get put on there as well. It is important that you do it. So please, if you're registered to vote, go out and get it done.